The Graduate Employees Organization, or GEO, has been on strike since Monday. After a year of failed negotiations with the university, the GEO rallied hundreds of graduate employees to cease work until the two groups could agree on a fair contract settlement. Grad students picket high traffic areas like the English Building and Lincoln Hall, where many undergraduate students have classes. The contract that expired this August paid graduate students an annual salary of just over $16,000.
I know people who are out on the picket lines today making $700 a month. The thing is that I just think it's unfair that graduate students aren't given a living wage. They deserve to be paid for the labor that they give.
Among issues like tuition waivers and a living wage, health insurance was also a key issue that was not resolved.
One of my friends actually, almost 20% of her money she made last year went towards paying for this chronic condition because our insurance wasn't good enough. At the university, they do it for us. They talk to United, so we pay for a healthcare language that we don't even get a direct say in.
Dorothee Schneider is a member of the Non-Tenure Faculty Coalition, or NTFC, which went on strike 2 years ago on the Illinois campus and stands in solidarity with the GEO. She says teaching assistants receive a different healthcare plan than faculty members, but the problem lies in the lack of variety of healthcare providers in the area. Schneider adds that the U of I stands to lose potential faculty and graduate students to other neighboring universities if it continues to have instances of conflict like the NTFC strike and the GEO strike.
I think that just shows how the university has to remain truly attractive, and it isn't with this perpetual history of conflict. I'm very concerned about that.
As of Thursday, there has been no word of a successful negotiation between the U of I and the GEO. Until then, the GEO and its supporters will continue picketing. In Urbana, I'm Patrick Lee, UI7 News. After a long day at work, Barry Land welds away in his home garage in Urbana.
I make weld art out of old scrap metal. I got into welding through working on my old motorcycles, building a couple old motorcycles, choppers.
Land has been creating weld art for about 5 years now and credits most of the inspiration for his creations to pop culture.
As far as just influences, again, it goes back to, pop culture, everything from, robots and skateboarders and hot rods and trikes, choppers, music, comic books, cartoons, skateboarding, all that kind of stuff.
Most of his creations consist of recycled automotive mufflers, motorcycle parts, and anything that generally catches his eye.
Stuff I find, if I'm at an antique store or at a junkyard and I see something that strikes me, I'll buy it. Found, given, bought, that's where all the parts come from. This is just stuff that I collect and gather along the way. And some people think it's ridiculous and some people don't, but it's just, I'm a big kid, what can I say?
Big kid or not, Land usually works on his projects at night when all his responsibilities for the day are over.
Day jobs first, and then I come home and do the family stuff. After the kids go to bed, I come out here, not every night, but quite often, and work on something.
If he could, he'd be out here every night doing it because he likes it out here. He likes to build sculptures and he likes to be creative, but I think that our family commitments, like anything else, like anybody else, sometimes keep that from happening.
Land will be displaying his art at the Boneyard Arts Festival this weekend in Champaign. Until then, he'll continue making weld art in his humble abode. In Urbana, I'm Patrick Lee, UI7 News. The Trump administration imposed a tariff of $50 billion on Chinese goods Wednesday morning. China replied with a very similar tariff on American goods hours later. In Illinois, this tariff could negatively impact a billion-dollar industry, soybeans. According to Statista.com, Illinois is the top soybean-producing state in the nation, producing nearly 600 million bushels in 2017 alone. Although the Chinese have not acted on this tariff, the price of soybeans dropped significantly Wednesday morning in response to the news.
The market price of soybeans dropped 40 cents this morning. I haven't seen last trade, but it's in the 30 to 40 cent range. If you take that times a 4 billion bushel soybean crop, American farmers, American soybean producers are down $1.6 to $1.7 billion.
If the tariffs are passed, China could start exploring other options for soybean-producing countries like Brazil or Uruguay.
So the concern is beyond the short-term price effect now. My big concern is, does this just create more competition for us later because other people will start producing more soybeans than we do.
The tariff could affect many Illinois farms like this one along Lincoln Avenue. And although it's too cold to grow soybeans right now, many jobs in these fields could be in jeopardy if China decides to take its business elsewhere.
But Gary Schnitke notes that switching soybean suppliers in favor of the tariff would not be beneficial for China either.
Soybeans is a big deal to both parties, and it would have negative impacts on China as well, because they will in the end pay more for soybeans because of the tariff.
Todd Hubbs believes the passing of this tariff is possible, but sees China's reaction as a firm response to the Trump administration's original tariff.
I think what we're seeing is China sending a signal to the administration. The question is, did the administration get it? Is it just a bargaining position and they're going to try to come around on it? Or are they set on doing it? Because what China announced was, if we do these tariffs, they're retaliating.
For now, all we can do is speculate and hope the two global giants can come to a mutually beneficial agreement in the near future. In Urbana, I'm Patrick Lee, UI7 News.
For the first time in almost 100 years, the University of Illinois hosted a live boxing event. Over spring break, the ARC played host to the 2018 United States Intercollegiate Boxing Association National Championships. To put it into context, check out this picture of the last live boxing event held at the university at the Armory back in 1920. After 98 years, the UCIBA National Championships reintroduced live boxing to the U of I. Over 170 student boxers from 48 schools across the nation came to compete. The Illinois men's team ran through most of their competition to win the first place trophy with several KO victories by Ethan Hartowitz, Sean Coltrane, and Alan Castellan. And let's not forget about our Illinois women's team. Shelby Harrison won her 2 fights to become the 165 beginner women's national champion alongside uncontested Jessica Huang and Maria Huerta. Illinois boasted a group of 31 boxers, winning 15 national championship belts, first place in the men's division, 3 Fight of the Night medals, and 2 Best Beginner Boxer awards. With the early voting underway, Illinois is taking measures to avoid a repeat of 2016. Ryan Wilson hears from both voters and local officials on their trust in voter safety. And I'm Patrick Lee. Tonight, we'll be covering the Illinois primary election, including what issues are being discussed among voters. That was one of a package of 4 bills making its way through the Illinois legislature since the Parkland, Florida shooting. One bill regarding licensing for gun dealers was vetoed by Governor Bruce Rauner earlier this week. The other 2 would ban the sale of bump stocks and magazines with a capacity of 16 rounds or more.